Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Really excited for today's video. Beer's courtesy of Maxx. Thanks so much, Maxx. I really appreciate it. And it's another beer from Farm, and I had a decent variety of beers from them at this point, but I have not had any beer like this at all from them. So it's called Votive, like motive with a V at the beginning. Of course, you probably have read that in the title. It's a double barrel imperial stout aged in, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, it's like cognac. It's a variety of brandy, but it's Armagnac, maybe is how you pronounce it, and bourbon barrels. And then this says batch number 2, and it's from 2020. 12.1% ABV. Yeah. Excuse me. Let's get into it. This is pouring very dark. This is basically your motor oil kind of color. There's like a weird ring around it. I don't know if that's what's causing that. Is it just the bottle maybe? Interesting. Anyway. Things that the camera probably isn't even picking up, so I look like a crazy person right now. Yeah, I mean, it's... Usually when I look at a beer like this, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of brown in there. There really isn't. Not worth mentioning anyway. I mean, that's how dark this beer is. A very dark mocha, I would say actually beyond mocha color for that head. The head is going away quickly because it's sticking to the side of the glass. It looks like it's a little higher than it actually is because in the center there's just like a thin film at this point above the liquid. And then there is like a spot in the middle where it's just a liquid. So that went away relatively quickly. But yeah, definitely a big, beautiful looking stout. Let's get into the aroma. So maybe I'll get some, because I am familiar with brandy, so maybe I'll get some brandy notes. When I smell this, it's straight bourbon barrel though. Like that is so prominent. Like in the best possible way. You get the actual spirit, which I really appreciate. You know, sometimes it's cool you get the things a barrel can kick out, the oak specifically, obviously, which this has for sure. I gotta make sure I mention that. Like vanilla, coconut, whatever. But like the actual spirit, I don't know. I haven't been picking that up lately in bourbon barrel aged beers. This one unmistakably has bourbon notes in it, and it's like really nice. You get Hershey's syrup, like chocolate that way, with some dark chocolate mixed in. You do get some of that toasted coconut, a little bit of vanilla. So you are getting the things that the barrels, you know, can kick out for sure. Man, I really appreciate how much bourbon I'm actually getting mixed with that chocolate. It smells awesome. Like, this smells really good. Yeah, nice caramel swirl in there. The more I'm smelling it, the more of a roast that's finding its way. I've said this in similar reviews lately, like I could probably keep smelling this and pulling different things as it opens up even more, as it warms up even more, although it's not going to warm up at all because it's cellar temperature and I'm drinking this in the cellar, but like at least not on camera. When I go upstairs and maybe it warms up a little bit, I could get even more. I don't care though, like this smells so good already. Let's get into the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Max. Okay. Based on the aroma, this smells pretty close to what I was thinking it was going to taste like. Or this tastes like, based on the aroma, this tastes like I thought it would based on how it smelled. In case I didn't say that correctly. I'm glad I mentioned how the roast was creeping up because it is roastier and there is more dark chocolate and like espresso notes than the aroma led on. But there is sweetness there. It does have some of that vanilla, has that oak, has some of that caramel. I mean, definitely fighting the roast, the chocolate, the dark chocolate, the espresso. When I started kind of laughing is when I kind of got that other thing that's got to be the brandy, because it was leaning so strong, very well made bourbon barrel aged stout, period. No other, thing occurring in this beer. And that's what made me laugh a little bit, was like, oh no, there it is. There's that other thing. Man, and 12.1, I tell you what, not that this drink's boozy, but like you could tell me more like 14, 15%, and I would believe you. I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I can see that, because it has that like heft. But again, I don't mean in terms of an alcohol burn. I have a little bit of warmth in the chest, very little bit. Man. Yeah. Okay, so it was the same experience. I was able to be a little bit more mindful of it, because everything wasn't new, for the first time there. Yeah, it does. It starts sweet. You get the sweeter chocolate. You get the sweeter vanilla for sure. Then comes like some of the bitterness that's intermingling with the I'll stick with espresso, but coffee in general, whatever, the dark chocolate thing. Just the roast of the beer. And then you get, and again, interwoven with that is some of the actual bourbon, which is nice. But then you get that transition beyond just the sweet to the bitter components to the oak dryness. Then you get hit with that, like, it's not, when I think of brandy, it's my own fault. I think of apple brandy. This isn't apple-y at all. And I don't know if this style is supposed... I don't know much about this, other than I quickly looked up and it said, it's a kind of brandy from this part of France. Like, it doesn't have, like, something like that, but it has this other spirit character. And I'm thinking because of the double barrel aging, that's why I'm getting so much oak in it. It's not like sucking on you finish not a lollipop, like a popsicle or something, you like suck on a steak. Like, it's not that intense, but like, yeah, this has oak in it for sure. And that dryness continues into the aftertaste. I almost get like an unsweetened graham cracker taste still lingering. It's got that roasty, almost like hotness to it. I don't know, man. Like, this is super tasty. There's so much going on. It's just like I was saying about the aroma. I'm sure I could keep sipping this and pulling things. Like, there's that much going on. Now that I have it in the taste, I do get like otherness in terms of like what I was before perceiving as just straight bourbon. There is another thing. It's not quite like ethanol, but you can definitely tell, oh, this is another spirit. I'm almost getting like botanical vibes too. Okay, when I'm done, I gotta look more into this spirit. Not quite gin, but like, yeah, like a spirit that might have light botanicals, which is interesting. It's not herbaceous, but it does kind of give me some, again, not as strong as gin, but like some gin vibes, which I wouldn't think with the chocolate and the coffee would work. But that element is actually complementing and working well with what is there and dominating. There's so much going on. I obviously this is a very complex beer, and I hope I articulated that well and didn't just lean into like, oh yeah, it's a complex beer. There's a lot going on, and it's all working for me. I wonder too. This would probably be a good beer to age because it does have so many things, peaking and troughing that probably some age would round things out, meld the beer together. I do not mean that this beer is not drinking well now. I just think this would be a nice candidate for another year or two probably on it, or longer. But yeah, this is killer. This is a little different than this style of beer that I typically drink. I'll give them credit for the base beer as part of that, but I think that what they double barrel aged it with is also adding something different, which is really cool. Especially doing reviews, because like sometimes I like certain styles, as people know if they watch the channel a lot, and as fun as they are to drink, sometimes it's tough to feel like I'm giving good reviews because it's just like, oh yeah, it's like, here's the same 5 things I typically say with this style. So I was really appreciated about this is there was something different. So anyway, I'm rambling. Time to wrap it up. Thanks again, Maxx. I really appreciate it, man. Seriously, this was awesome. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate that. Check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both of those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.